There are two types of writers out there. There are writers who love to describe setting, and they do it to the point where they have to over-describe everything just to make themselves happy. And then there are writers who hate setting and everything it stands for. And these writers typically under-describe a setting, and their settings as a result come out about as boring as my curtains. So today I'm going to give you some advice on how to write better settings, whether you're on one side of the aisle or the other. What's up, guys? My name is Brandon McNulty. I'm a writer, and welcome to my writing channel. Today, as I mentioned, I want to talk about the idea of writing better settings. And my first tip for today is going to go for that crowd of people who they hate writing settings and they tend to under-describe because they just want to get it done as fast as possible and rush on to the plot or the character interactions or anything like that. So for that first group, the people who hate writing setting and they under-describe, the number one thing you want to remember is you want to hit all five senses. You don't want to just describe the visual aspects of the setting. You also want to incorporate the sounds, the smells, the tastes, the sensations, the feelings, the temperatures. All those different things need to be in your book. And honestly, if you're missing out on those senses, you're missing out on a great opportunity to draw your readers in. So, for example, if you have a character who is walking into a living room, they might notice like the ticking of a radiator in the corner, or maybe the clicking of a pipe above their head, something along the ceiling. They might notice the scratching of a cat on the floor. They might notice the smell of tomato sauce coming from the kitchen. They might taste smoke in the air. They might feel a breeze coming through the window. All those different things can help you better describe what's going on, and it'll make your settings more dynamic than if you just said, here's the furniture, here's the walls, here's the ceiling, guess what color they are, that sort of thing. Now this also goes for outdoor environments as well. If you have a character step out the door, do they hear the robins chirping? Do they hear the car chugging in the driveway next door? Do they smell the car exhaust? Do they taste that smoke in the air? Maybe somebody's cooking on the grill next door. Can they taste the charcoal? And then of course you have all your different sensations, the breeze, the raindrops on their head. All those different things can be incorporated into an outdoor setting to make it more alive, and if you can do it, you should. My number two tip goes out to those writers who tend to over-describe setting. And one of the key problems I notice with these types of writers is that they tend to hit the pause button when it comes to the action of the story. And by that I mean they will stop the plot from moving just to describe the setting, and this is not a good thing. Yes, there are some instances where it helps to have the characters just stand by in awe and realize, wow, look at this area, look at this amazing place I've seen for the first time. But more often than not, we have characters in pretty mundane settings, at least mundane from their point of view. So if you have a character who walks into a living room, don't stop the action to describe the couches and the TV and all those things that they've seen a million times before. Have that character interact with the environment. Keep them moving along. Keep the dialogue flowing if they're talking to somebody. If they don't have somebody to talk to, have them pick up different pieces. Have them look at, things that are on the coffee table. Have them feel the weight of those objects. Have them, brush aside the curtains, see what it looks like outside, maybe let a little light into the room. All those different ways of interacting with the environment will make your story stronger, and they will keep your readers more interested in the story because your storytelling is more dynamic. It's not stop and go. It's just moving at different paces, and because you're moving, that's going to keep your readers on the page. That's going to keep them going forward. And as far as outdoor settings, say you have characters who are going on a hike together. Maybe instead of describing the setting and just saying like, oh, there's tree roots on the ground and there's tree trunks as far as the eye can see and there's mud everywhere, have the characters trip over those tree roots. Have them brush against the tree trunks. Have them slip in the mud. Have water fall down from the branches and the leaves above. Those kind of things make your settings more dynamic, and that's what you want. Whenever you have a setting, remember to just think of it as like giving an IV drip. You want to have that drip, drip, drip sort of explanation of a setting. You don't want to just dump it all at once or hold it all back until late in the game. You want to just drip it evenly along, give your reader a pretty balanced amount of setting, let them take it in while your characters are acting and moving through the story. My number three tip goes out to both sides of the aisle, and this involves linking your character to the setting. And by this I mean you want your point of view character to interpret the setting in a way that fleshes out who they are as a human being. And this can be a very powerful technique for not only describing settings, but also showing us who that character is. For instance, if you're describing a crime scene and you have two detectives arrive, the rookie detective is going to see things a lot differently from the seasoned veteran who's been doing this for 15 or 20 years. And both of them are going to see it way differently from the mother of the victim. So always keep those kind of things in mind, things like occupation, family ties, stuff like that. Also, keep in mind a character's goals and conflicts when you're describing a setting. For instance, if you have a character who's struggling to lose weight and they go into the supermarket, they might notice the smell of donuts in the bakery, whereas maybe a parent who's rushing into that same supermarket to get medicine for their child might be searching for all the different signs, trying to figure out which aisle the medicine is in. Maybe they're just hoping that it's still in stock. They have different things running through their mind. Always keep that in mind. Goals and conflict are a big deal as well. Another thing to remember with setting is that you can use it to draw out a character's backstory. For instance, if you have two characters who walk into an Italian restaurant, one of them might smell the sauce in the air and think of their grandmother and feel guilty about the fact that they haven't visited in a few months. Another might smell that same sauce and think back to the time that they were dumped at this very same restaurant by their fiance. All these techniques will make your story stronger, and anytime you have the opportunity to link up setting with character, I suggest you do it. This is what your readers want. They want more dynamic settings. They want to interpret things alongside the characters. And if you do these kind of things, if you have the story do double duty, your readers will thank you for it, and they will keep flipping pages until they get to the end. I hope this helps. If you have any other questions about setting, don't be afraid to reach out in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out my other videos. Hit that like and subscribe button for me, and remember to keep on writing.